if you have enough budget, create your own products. Do a good reverse engineer on the initial product, tear it apart, understand what needs to be improved after testing.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Think Outside the Buy Box, where we bring in Amazon experts from all across the world, bringing you knowledge that you might not have heard before. I'm your host, Adam Hassan, and today we have a special guest, Fabian David from AMZ Savages. He has worked a number of years developing business plans and product research strategies for clients. He is an expert at product discovery and product differentiation and has had a lot of successful clients in the industry. Fabian, thank you for being on the podcast today. How are you doing?
And thanks for having me. I'm really well. Thank you. Thanks for asking me. And I'm excited to get this going and provide to the people some good content tonight, man.
Nice. I'm excited as well. And I know you bring a lot to the table. So for those of the audience members that don't really know your backstory, would you mind maybe explaining and telling a little bit about how you began on Amazon and what you're doing recently?
Absolutely. So I personally started to dive into Amazon business a couple of years ago, more or less 6 to 7 years. When on Amazon was, a really easy business to do. Back in 2013, 2014 was very easy. To launch products, to make them sell, to rank products. We don't even knew back then what's about ranking, to be honest. Jungle Scout was actually popping out on the market. So it was the first platform that we used in the industry back then for the tools, for, helping us with the product and so on. So it was very primarily, everything was very basic. And since I started in the first year, I started as well working for other people and with other people to try to understand the process as best as possible, discover every single task from the process and try to learn it as best as possible from the scratch. And this is how I managed to learn and do tests on a weekly basis, starting from the product research to the PPC management process, to how to source the products better, how to negotiate with the suppliers, how to prepare the shipment to Amazon fulfillment centers better, and how to market and in the end, how to rank the products. The difference between 2014 and today on Amazon is huge. It's just huge. You cannot compare the system back then with the actual process right now. And for me, from my point of view, everything is much better now, even if it's much harder, because this way, we manage to provide to the buyers on Amazon or to the users of Amazon better products or better services by making things more complicated. Amazon making things for us sellers more complicated. We're trying to provide and differentiate ourselves better products, right? And starting 2 years ago, I decided to start developing a tool for Amazon sellers, because I understood that all the other tools available out there at the moment, they are not providing to the people, to the people who wants to sell on Amazon or who wants to invest or they are already selling on Amazon, a complete system or a complete thing that can actually help them not to lose money and become successful on Amazon. And at the end of the day, not only money are important, but the time, right? Because the time, we don't get it back. Money, we can make it anytime at the end of the day. So that's why I decided to create this Amazon product research tool that I'm proud to say right now it's available to the people. And I think we have a very complete system, but definitely things are in an ongoing development, like already, because you have your own platform too, so you know exactly how things are going.
To 2020, there's a lot of moving parts. The systems become a bit complex. There's a lot of ranking strategies that evolved, PPC strategies. Now you can even put like videos in there. But I feel like when it comes to the entrepreneur's approach, the ones that are jumping in the market right now, they're not really doing things in a more complex manner. They still look at the product and then they try to fund the inventory and then think that the rest of it is going to take care of by themselves. What is your approach when it comes to business plans? What do you think sellers should be doing when they're jumping in the market in 2020?
Well, I have this conversation on a daily basis with a lot of people, and I have, for my surprise, which is unpleasant, it's an unpleasant surprise, when I discover on a daily basis that people still don't understand that investing money into something, it became a business because you are expecting something in return, right? Mm-hmm. So you start discussing about sales projections, you start discussing about money investment and costs and fees, and you should have this well prepared in advance before start actually investing into that business, because people, a lot of them don't see Amazon as a proper business. I don't know why, but what's exactly the main reason for this, but I'm trying to make people understand, at least the one that I'm talking with, to understand that investing into something and in Amazon, right, it's actually a proper business. So that's why it's very, very important to start with the actual budget, man. I know it's a very sensitive subject when you're asking someone, how much money do you have to invest into this, right? This should be the first question. This should be the first thing to discuss, to start with. Because based on the budget, you can determine exactly what expectations can you have in return, what exactly are the costs, and this way you determine exactly if that's something that you're investing in can be profitable or not. It's simple as this. If you don't have a very solid business plan in advance, the rate of failure is very, very, very high.
Now, you talked about business plan, right? And there's a lot of moving parts in there. You have to think
Oh
about
my God.
marketing, listing optimization, having, all the complete product pages, and then also think about holiday seasons, new products coming in, a lot of investment needed. So what are, in your opinion, some of the crucial budget items that they need to lock in? Let's say one is inventory. We know that has to be taken care of. What other things
Absolutely.
are absolutely essential when they're starting out on Amazon?
I'm meeting people that they want to invest, go to on Fiverr, for example, pay $100 for a set of photography, and they're expecting for the listing to convert like popcorn. It's not working like that, man. It's just not working like that. So photography, branding, inventory, of course, shipping, right? But there's another thing, marketing, of course, ranking. But there's another thing that for me, from my experience, it's one of the crucial factors that even if you have the entire process covered, if you're missing this, you're almost doomed to fail no matter how good your product is. And let me tell you what's about covering the second inventory cost, covering the second shipment, the shipping cost for the second inventory as well, to have them in advance, well prepared, because people are expecting to get money out from the first inventory, and they can pay with that for the production of the second inventory, and for the shipping of the second inventory, which is not possible. Because it is possible at the end of the day, if you let's say if you're lucky enough for the algorithm to put you on the first page, or to love your product that much in order to expose you in front of the people and to have a very good conversion from the very beginning with a low social proof on your listing, which means low reviews. But you won't have enough time, right, to finish the production for the second inventory and to ship the inventory in a good matter of time, in order to have a good inventory management and continuation on your sales, which is not possible on Amazon right now, today as we speak. If you run out of stock, you're dead.
That's
It's
so
simple as
important.
that.
Yeah.
You're dead. You can start over again. I see this weekly, on a weekly basis, over and over again, and it's so painful for me.
Yeah, and you can't stress on that more. There's no
No,
enough emphasis on it, because
no.
by the time you get sales and you get that money from Amazon, it's already too late to put in an order for the second shipment, and then you're basically shipping by air and spending a lot of money in order to get it to Amazon before you stock out. So understood, that is a very crucial thing, having the budget for the second inventory. What are some of the other mistakes that you see sellers making on a regular basis, when they're starting out? What are the mistakes that they make?
Well, definitely not paying attention during the product research phase. They don't know exactly how to validate the products. I just see people, spending enormous amount of time with the research, and they're getting stuck at some point because they are paying huge amounts of money on different courses out there, and they think they will get it on the plate, but it's not possible, because it's just you have to have that experience through actually testing things, discovering things on your own by literally experiencing them on Amazon directly on the market. Otherwise, it's not possible. Even myself, I can talk about myself. For example, I'm mentoring my clients, right? And even when I'm doing this, no matter how good I'm explaining to them, and without practice, it's just very, very hard for someone to actually learn the right process, the process that it's efficient and provides, good results. So I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see on a daily basis, not paying a lot of attention during the product research phase. The part of the product selection and the part of the product validation. And I know from experience that if you're missing a factor during the validation phase, no matter the other factors, if they're validated, only one missing, and you're doomed to fail.
Hmm. And part of the validation, do you also recommend them maybe getting customer or competitor samples and really understanding and testing the product as well as their own? Do you recommend them to use their product before they launch it?
100%. I can't stress enough about saying this on a daily basis again. Please, please, please take your time, test the product yourself, and understand what you're selling.
Mhm.
Don't fall in love with the product at the end of the day, but fall in love with the business that you're doing, with the entire process. Take your time and try to understand your product, because this way, no matter how good we are at differentiating products, but there's always things that can be improved. There's always things that can be added, that things that we don't know them in advance, right? Initially we just see what's on the market, but until we don't actually receive that product, until we don't test it and discover things, we won't understand the product like we should. So definitely take your time. If you need to spend 3 weeks to 1 month, or I don't know, 6 weeks to understand your product and to do a reverse engineer by ordering samples from your main competitors, do that. Pay the extra money, pay for the samples, pay for the products that you're ordering from your competitors, and understand exactly your product, because you don't want to be a 3 months business, right? You want to invest long term. You want to grow a brand. You want to launch and grow a brand with your first product or first products. So definitely take your time and test the products well.
Completely
100%.
agreed. I think getting in that customer mindset and understanding the product and really knowing the pain points of the customers, because that's the only way you can differentiate the product, is to really understand what needs to be tweaked, what is the current product missing. So differentiation is key. We know that,
It's
especially in 2020 and how the Amazon landscape is evolving. What other tips or techniques are there that you can share with the customer, with the audience, on how to properly differentiate their product?
the best one I can have, the best one I can share with you, with your audience right now, is if you have enough budget, create your own products. Do a good reverse engineer on the initial product, tear it apart, understand what needs to be improved after testing, and create a new mold. And this way, you'll manage to have your own product safe from the competition, because on Amazon, if you're just creating bundles, which is a very, very good idea to have, right? This is the I think it's in the middle. This is the average that I see now. And for the majority of the people, this is the best way to do it, to differentiate by creating new bundles and, of course, improving the original product. But the safest way to do it, because on Amazon right now, it's because of the competition that we see on Amazon, and because of the system that it's more complicated on a weekly basis, it's becoming more complicated. There's a lot of people coming from China, for example. The direct factories, the manufacturers are coming directly on Amazon, and it's very easy for them to copy your product no matter how good your bundle is. And in order to avoid this to happen sooner than later, create your own product. That means creating your own mold. It's more expensive. It takes, from my experience, around 2 to 3 months longer than usual, but it's definitely on long term, it's worth the time and money, man.
What about the top line? So when we're doing budgeting, do you have any rough allocations as to, let's say, what percentage should go into inventory, and then what percentage should go for, like, let's say, working with experts and marketing, etc.?
Usually at the beginning, the cost of the inventory is around 20% on average.
Okay.
And you
Just want
should,
to reiterate. So 20% just for inventory.
it's around on average 20%. We can get lower than this, definitely, sometimes.
Wow.
And the rest of it, you have to focus on branding, and you have to focus on marketing, and you have to focus on ranking the product. Because let me tell you something that not understood by a lot of people. No matter how good your product is, right? no matter how good your marketing strategy is, no matter how much money do you have, if you don't know how to rank the product after you have the inventory for sale at Amazon, you can wash your hands with your investment in your product. It's that simple. It's the same thing. Otherwise, if you don't have the right product, no matter how much money do you have, no matter how good your marketing strategy is, and no matter how good you know to rank the product, but if you don't have the right product, people won't buy it. So it's a circle, right? It's a circle.
And everything needs to be done right.
Every
Anything
single
compromised, and you're compromising your
yeah,
success on Amazon.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
you also talk about branding quite a bit, right? And that's becoming very crucial more recently than ever. Uh, when we're doing product launches now, to sort of get away from the passive income mindset to a long-term brand, do you also recommend establishing a brand outside of Amazon? And if yes, how do you propose that? Like, what are your steps to do it?
Every single time.
Mhm.
Every single time, but it has to be done properly in terms of timing, because I always recommend to outsell, to do the sales to, or to try to sell a product outside Amazon as well. But if you want a good brand awareness for your brand, then I always recommend, from my experience, to create your own website and to start selling your products once you have at least 3 products under the same brand. Because I discovered that with only 1 or 2 products, having your own website is not that efficient. And this is just my personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I maybe other people are more experienced than me in terms of branding, and they have other opinions. But speaking from my experience, this is how I found being the most efficient. When you have at least 3 products under the same brand, create your own website. And then definitely, even with 1 product, you can start running ads on Facebook, creating your own audience. Now it becomes more expensive than it was last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It takes more time until you refine your audience on Facebook. It takes a lot of more effort. But once you achieve that, definitely you can get great results. So always try to sell your products on different channels, not only on Amazon,
Okay, that way you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
in one basket.
You're
Exactly.
essentially diversifying. Makes sense. I think 3 products, there's a lot of costs associated to creating a website. If you can do, a lot of people can't do that themselves. So in order to have that funding available, it makes sense to have at least 3 products. Um, coming back to Amazon, one last question that I have is having that perfect launch. You just, when you have your savings lined up, and that's a lot of sellers these days, and they're switching to ecom, they want that perfect launch. It has to be completely smooth. What are your thoughts on getting things right? How should they plan their launch? I know in the product discovery phase, you said 2 to 3 months, take your time. But when it comes to actually, after they create a shipment plan, what do they do then?
They have to prepare their listing well. They have to do, because based on in the product research phase, in that product validation phase, we are how we do things in AMZ Savages. We are it's everything is based on data. So we are running in-depth keyword research and analysis, and based on that, we determine if the products are valid, if the product have enough demand and potential. And based on that, based on the relevant keywords that we discover for the product, we also use them in the initial listing optimization. So the listing content should be done very, very well. People don't pay attention to this. Just a small percentage of the people who pay attention are very, very successful. And I noticed this. The algorithm, if you have a very good optimized listing from the very beginning based on a good keyword research and analysis, I noticed that the algorithm just loves to put you in front of the people with zero reviews. It's confirmed over and over and over again, product after product after product. So prepare the listing of the content very well. Create the PPC campaigns. And another thing that is very important, set up your backend of the listing, man. Mm-hmm. There's a field there, keywords. People don't pay attention to it. People don't use all the fields in the keyword section. People use only the search terms field. You have a lot of them. You have intended use, you have subject matter, you have so many things there. You have even platinum keywords. People don't pay attention to it. I don't know who actually said a couple of years ago that platinum keywords are only for, I don't know what type of sellers, like platinum sellers. That's a fairy tale story. I don't know what's happening with that, but the people don't use them, man. Use all the fields, because if you have unlimited, from my in some categories are unlimited fields for platinum keywords. Use them all. Use all the keywords that you discover during the product, during the keyword research and analysis. So this way you have a very big advantage in front of the competition from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. I think it's lost its importance over time, and people don't realize the power of backend keywords. Like you said, people leave that blank, but subject matter, intended use, all of these fields, if done correctly, I know the landscape has changed a little bit, but back in 2016, 2017, people even launched without PPC, and they started getting orders and ranking on those keywords.
Because of that.
Just because of that. Backend. To your point, Amazon's algorithm then knows the product, and it knows exactly who to show it to. So in essence, it's showing it to the right audiences then.
Correct. I can't agree more with this.
Perfect. Well, Fabian, thank you for so much knowledge. Really loved the discussion. Always a good chat with you, even
thanks for having me.
Off of podcast. Now, for people who want to find you, how do they do that? Maybe your website and on the socials?
You can find me on social, Fabian David, or AMZ Savages, or directly on our website, www.amzsavages.com. And it's an amazing pleasure for me to speak with you. It's an amazing pleasure to answer to any kind of question related to Amazon. And I love Q&As, man. I love Q&As.
Yeah, no, pleasure having you on the podcast as well. And I will link it in the bio for your social and your website as well. I know you're in Portugal, so thank you for taking out the time. You're a busy guy and always traveling. But excited to put this episode in front of people. And if they have questions, they can reach out to you directly then.
Absolutely.